Dr. Malcolm's chaos theory proves that extinct animals are unpredictable, because we have never been able to witness their behaviours. Because of this, complex systems can suddenly fall apart even though it seemed they were in control. This led to the downfall of 2 theme parks and 2 minor operations. Mr. Hammond, Mr. Masrani, Mr. Ludlow and Mr. Mills all thought they were in control when it came to containing these dinosaurs, but it all fell apart right before their eyes. For example, who could have predicted that velociraptors would be able to open doors? Who could have guessed that the Indominus would trick its workers into thinking it had already escaped? Who could have predicted that the Stygimoloch would use its domed skull to break walls? This eventually led to it trashing the auction, and Sir Mills' illegal dinosaur business fell apart. I believe this unpredictable behaviour is most prominent in the genetically hybridized dinosaur, the Indoraptor. Not only a hybrid of multiple prehistoric creatures, but the Indoraptor is the first of its kind and incredibly intelligent. Who could have predicted that it too would have tricked someone into coming to its cage? Who could have predicted that it would ever have the physical ability to smile? Who could have predicted that it would hit the elevator button, and so Mr. Eversole's seemingly safe system fell apart? Finally, who could have predicted that the Indoraptor would choose to climb on the roof in order to find Maisie Lockwood? The supposedly safe and secure systems of these 3 people fell apart because they didn't compensate for unpredictable behaviours, and for 2 of them, it led to their fate. With all this out of the way, I want to present a theory I have regarding the unpredictable behaviour displayed by this hybrid. Did the Indoraptor ever use the elevator? I know it seems silly at first, but bear with me. We see the elevator multiple times throughout the film, and it's clearly important as it helps the characters navigate the huge Lockwood mansion. Now, to first know why the Indoraptor would ever have to use the elevator, we need to first understand the architecture of the Lockwood Manor. There are at least 3 floors underground and 3 floors above the ground. For the purpose of this video, we're going to ignore the top 2 floors above the ground, as they are irrelevant. So, above ground, we have the Dinosaur Museum. This includes a Ceratopsid skull, various dinosaur skeletons, and dinosaur dioramas. At the end of this floor, there's an elevator that leads directly underground. When looking at this shot, we can see 2 of the 3 floors underground. The topmost floor is the science labs, and just beneath is what Owen refers to as the garage. This floor is used to store the dinosaurs in cages, and it's recognisable for its many pipes. Now, just below this is the auction room. We know this because not only is there an elevator in the auction room, but if we also look at this shot, Claire, Owen and Maisie are clearly 1 floor above, and during that scene, they are in the garage. So there it is, 3 floors below and 1 above. We'll ignore the other 2 for now. So the first time we see the Indoraptor as it escapes is in the auction room. We then see it in the garage and then the museum. So my question is, how did the Indoraptor ascend the building? Let's start off with the auction room. The last time we see the animal before the garage is right outside the elevator. All the buyers leave the building entirely through the back entrance. Owen and Mills most probably left through the elevator, as the next time we see them is in the garage. Now, you can actually see a set of stairs right next to the elevator, but I don't believe this actually leads to the garage. Take a look at the shot in which the buyers escape through the back entrance. Now take a look at the shot where the dinosaurs escape towards the end of the film. It's pretty clear that they both escape out of the same floor. The dinosaurs escape on the left, and the buyers escape on the right. This is actually quite interesting, because it means that the floor from which both of these escape lead to 2 separate floors, one being the garage and one being the auction room. Either the dinosaurs would have to climb stairs to get out, which just seems like horrible architecture, or the buyers would have to climb stairs and elevate 1 floor in order to reach this floor outside. Because of this, I'm going to assume that yes, the stairs lead outside and not to the rest of the manor. If one would want to reach the rest of the manor, they'd have to use the elevator. If Owen and Mills use the elevator to ascend 1 floor, then how did the Indoraptor ever reach the garage? Remember, the last place the Indoraptor was before the garage was outside the elevator. The code input had already been put in by Gunnar Eversole. The Indoraptor is unnaturally intelligent, and it has proper claws unlike the Tyrannosaurus, so it will be able to tap the various elevator buttons. From here, it will be able to reach the science labs via the staircase, but instead it goes directly to the museum. This is actually quite lucky, because the lab sequence takes place directly between this scene and the museum scene. This means that everyone inside the labs at the time were in close proximity to the Indoraptor, but somehow didn't attract its attention, especially with all the noise. Now, before we go over the museum, there's a big plot hole we need to discuss. How did these three reach the museum without using the elevator? Surely the opening doors would have caught its attention. Additionally, why are they being so cautious? For all they know, the Indoraptor is still underground, as that's the last place they saw it. It seems unlikely that there will be any alternate passages, so there's only one explanation. Off screen, Owen, Claire and Maisie took the elevator to the museum. They tried to escape the mansion, but suddenly the Indoraptor came out of the elevator. The three of them then went to hide behind a door, knowing that the Indoraptor was somewhere in the museum. This would bring us to where the museum sequence starts. So in truth, the Indoraptor chased these three to the museum off screen. Since there doesn't seem to be any alternate passages and everyone else used the elevator, it seems that the Indoraptor may have used it too. Remember, the last time we saw the Indoraptor is just outside the elevator. The code input had already been put in by Mr. Eversole. We know that the Indoraptor is extremely intelligent, and we've seen that through various points in the film. This would explain how it will be able to memorize this code. It has proper claws unlike the Tyrannosaurus, so it'll be able to tap the various buttons. Once again, the biggest piece of evidence for this theory is the sheer intelligence of the Indoraptor, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this turned out to be true. Everything else seems to line up. Now, I'd actually really want to know what you'll think of this theory. Do you agree? Do you think something's out of line, or do you think it's complete garbage? Let me know down in the comments. Now before I leave, I just want to thank all of you for taking the time to watch this video. I want you all to know just how thankful I am for that and all the support you give me. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.